So that's it. If you are looking for more information about the partner program itself, send an email to the partner program at proxim.com or customer service at moonblake.com. For more information about some of the case studies that we reviewed earlier during the presentation, you can go to www.proxim.com/solutions. Moonblake is also available to answer your questions about Proxim and wireless surveillance deployments that they have done with us and so forth. So my email is down here, dhuang@proxim.com. If you have any specific questions for me, as well as the general customer service at moonblake.com information, as well as telephone numbers there. Let me transfer the panelist control back to Travis, and then we'll start taking your questions, and I'll answer some of the questions as well that have come in via the chat.
All right, thanks, Dennis. So I have one question that was sent in early on. In regards to the mobile video application for the trains in Spain, a gentleman was wondering if this is full mobility with handover.
So it is a sort of nomadic handover. It's not full mobility. The full mobility really is a technology that's generally incorporated into sort of LTE, 3G, 4G mobile operator carrier class equipment that is actually used for handsets predominantly, right? So that's not really the type of technology that's sort of in our system. What our system enables, and these are different types of applications, right? So you have a cell phone, excuse me, you have a cell phone, and you're traveling down the highway. Obviously, your expectation is that you can maintain a connection, your service call. Now, that's not necessarily the case, for certain operators, right? You get a lot of drop calls and poor customer support. But I mean, that's generally the expectations. For applications such as this, where you're talking about video surveillance, the speed at which a train may move down the track may be also relatively quickly. But the actual amount of sort of transmit capacity, as well as the latency factors involved, may be are unique and specific. And so the deployments for us, specifically the Tenerife, these are all based on sort of nomadic. They're sort of terminologies, I guess, that the industry uses. And so mobility is full on handoff, very high speeds. But capacity throughput may be relatively lower, right? Whereas on the other side, you have higher capacities, but yet the speeds at which you're able to hand off from base station to base station, base station to base station, the tolerance of those may be a little bit more conservative, meaning that the speed in which you're actually transferring handoff between base stations are lower. And so I wouldn't say that it's full-on mobility and full-on handover, but take a look at the deployment that we have at Tenerife. Take a look at that video. Take a look at how fast that tram is particularly moving. Take a look at the equipment that's being deployed along the tracks there in the video that we have on the website, and judge for yourself whether this is adequate for your particular needs or your customer's particular needs.
Okay. And then we have another question asking, what's the access method used in Proxim to make a full duplex backhaul? Is it TDMA?
Can you repeat that, Travis? Sorry about that, and quite catch it. Okay.
The question is, what's the access method used in Proxim to make a full duplex backhaul? Is it TDMA?
Oh, okay. So it depends on the equipment that you're deploying, right? So we've got TDMA as unlicensed backhaul, but our licensed gear is not. Our licensed gear is FDD. And so it depends on the type of equipment that you're looking to purchase from us. If you need or require licensed connection, meaning that you're the only people that are operating on this particular highway, you've applied for the application with the government's granted you a license frequency between that specific point A and that specific point B at, let's say, 11 gigahertz with a very specific frequency band, then you would purchase likely a product that we call the Tsunami GX800, and then that would be an FDD full duplex link, right? But if you're looking at an unlicensed network and an unlicensed connection, a point-to-point connection, yeah, that's TDM or that's TDD. That's basically the QB8100 and QB8200 point-to-point products that we have. So it depends on the equipment that you need. One operates with FDD, the other one operates TDD.
Okay. Next question we have is, can you describe the limitations on the number of HD cameras on a single link?
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's really so the ability to actually connect up to 100 clients to our base station is already built into our products. We've got a software update that allows us to connect 250 clients to our base stations, to each one of our base stations. Are you going to be connecting 250 or even 100 cameras to one base station? You're really not. The need to connect 100 even clients to a base station really is for different applications. It's really meant for WISPs and ISPs and service providers who are connecting residences, and businesses to a base station, and they're in a fundamentally different business, right? If you're talking about video connectivity, right, many of the deployments that we see are really, anywhere between 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 7 cameras per base station. Why is that? It very often relates to sort of how the network is set up, and so. The HDD cameras actually have a pretty good video encoder these days. They generally use, H.264 encoding, and so the amount of capacity or throughput requirements that are required between even these HD high-end cameras has been compressed because of the better codecs that they're using within their cameras, and so the amount of capacity, actual capacity that's required, is really not all that greatly higher than in previous generation cameras, which are standard def, right, SDs, and so each of our base stations can work up to 150 megabits. If you don't have that much of channel bandwidth available to you, maybe they're at 60 megabits, 70 megabits, 100 megabits of capacity. Cameras may run up to 10 megs. Certainly, if you've got the encoding done properly, it's maybe a meg. 1 megabit, and so you can actually connect a lot of cameras to one of the base stations, and so we generally don't see that necessarily as being the limiting factor. We actually see the placement of where the cameras need to be versus where the base station needs to be as more of the limiting factor than the actual capacity being the limiting factor for our equipment. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have right now. I know that gentleman mentioned he lost audio, so hopefully that's not a widespread issue, and I'll make sure to get someone in touch with him to further answer that question if he didn't get the appropriate answer. So if anybody else has any more questions, now would be the time, but that looks like all the questions as of now.
Okay, so my email is up on the slide here. I think, Travis, you've got a copy of the presentation that you can pass out. Proxim really appreciates, Travis, you guys at Moonblink helping host this particular webinar. And see if there are any other questions that you want to follow up with us on. I'm here and available as always.
Okay, sounds great, Dennis, and thanks for your assistance in this webinar. And I'll make sure to send out follow-ups to all the attendees on the slides and further information for video surveillance. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.